scaling value realization in financial services. So we have Rob Hollerin, Director, Enterprise Analytics and Data Science at Coast Capital Saving. We have Chantal Boulanger, Senior Director, Performance and Client Shared Data in Industrial Alliance, Canada. And we have Bran, I'm gonna try. Krolovic. Senior Manager, Business Intelligence Enterprise Reporting, GoEasy Financial, and myself as the, moderator. So welcome.
Yes.
I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself a little bit on what you do while I find my notes.
I can start. So my name is Chantal Boulanger. I'm the Senior Director at IE Financial Group. And what I do with my team is we are in charge of the centralized data of our clients. We have across all of our business unit more than 5.8 million clients. And we have that wonderful place where we do a lot of BI, analytics, and advanced data science also.
Hey everyone, so my name is Bran Krovlovic. I'm the Senior Manager of BI Enterprise Reporting at GoEasy. GoEasy is not a well-known name. We're an alternative lending company with a focus on non-prime lending, as well as a little bit of lease-to-own appliances and furniture as a side of the business. My responsibility, as the name implies, is really supporting our entire enterprise from an automated decision support perspective. My team serves as platform administrators. We're actually owners of our BI platform, not IT, much preferred, and really looking towards the next evolution of BI, moving into agentic AI and conversational BI. So I do a lot. It's fun though.
Thanks. Rob Hollerin, the Director of Analytics and Data Science at Coast Capital Savings, one of the larger credit unions in Canada. We're coming out of a kind of a multi-year cloud migration journey, and so my team is really positioned to kind of leverage that new cloud data platform. So we've modernized our tech stack, and we're starting to see the benefits of that now.
All right. Well, welcome to this panel. And I'm going to start with the first question. So what has been the biggest driver of enterprise-wide adoption of your data ecosystem? So, and the options could be, for example, operating model, trust in the data, or few high-impact business use cases.
I think for us, now we're happier more of the years because we see that the data and analytics and AI, we see with this event and other types of event now is being a bit more sexier than 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, we're like, hey, we have some interesting thing that we can do with you. So now it's getting easier because it's mostly at the boards and everyone want to talk about it and everyone want to have that one use case of AI. The new issue that we have is everyone wants to do one AI project, so now you have to be able to market your project. So I think one of the first things that you need to be able to do is have a strong marketing of your initiative. So when you go to the business unit or when you go to the IT team, you need to be able to tell them, yes, there will be some cost saving, but also what's in it for them. What will be the new added value of that project that they will be able to leverage to the board and explain why do we need to focus our investment into that one. And after that, once you're able to convince everyone and everyone is on board, then you start the ongoing world tour of never-ending governance and talking with the people and making sure also that you are able to show them the advancement of your project because the marketing of it is going to be ongoing until the end of it. And also making sure that you're able to present all of the iterative value that you're able to create because people are not going to wait 5 years to have result on an AI project or an analytic project. They want to have that high-speed value delivery. So you have to be able to deliver it with small iteration, but also to market it and make sure that you're able to put it in a visible place for that to be ongoing and starting and still that excitement about your project.
Yeah, definitely. I live that. But I don't know how excited I am on the, it was at the beginning, it was like, good, finally, like important. They're talking about us on the board. And then it was like too much, it's like too much pressure. I feel like Britney Spears, that you're gonna go crazy and start doing TikTok videos because it's like that pressure is always like in the light spot. So it's, it's funny how things like you want a little bit of that.
Yeah,
Too much might be too much. Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, you mentioned a few things there. So operating model, I think, is definitely important, especially a cross-functional operating model, bringing in different teams outside of analytics. I think we found the trust in the data kind of came later. I think that's earned over a period of time. And the use cases specifically, I think, for us, really, it was around trying to kind of like demonstrate how this is going to solve problems for our stakeholders. I think we were quite lucky in the sense that our executive team was quite progressive from a kind of a technical investment perspective, and so we went to them with this approach, and we said it's going to cost millions, it's going to take years, that you're probably not going to see a lot of value for a while. And so they, to their credit, they bought in. And so where we kind of had more of a challenge was within the kind of the next layer down, the working teams, and helping them to understand like what this value proposition was for them. And so it's difficult when you say, okay, well, it's going to take us, instead of taking a day and a half to update this, this data model that every month that it used to take, it's going to take 15 minutes. They don't really care about that stuff. They care about how it's going to influence them on a daily basis. And so that's kind of like where we focused, to Chantal's point, to like crafting the vision of what this means and how it's going to make their lives easier. Because we had, the legacy problems that a lot of companies deal with. We had kind of reporting silos. We had kind of no single source of truth. We had kind of like not a nimble infrastructure that we could really scale easily. And so I think for us, it was really kind of translating those gaps into the vision and really kind of bringing that to life. So for us specifically, it was like, we're going to kind of like eliminate the kind of Excel factory of reporting that we have in the enterprise. And so we're going to build like a comprehensive reporting framework that goes from top of house down to kind of regions, branches, advisors, single source of truth. And we're going to push it out to your inboxes every week. And so we can start to build some momentum around kind of like what that vision was. And so that's kind of where we started with it. And to declare my bias, I think we kind of like waged a war on Excel to try to really kind of push this out and really kind of show the value. And so, our distribution teams, we talked a lot about AI this morning, and I think one of the counterpoints to some of that is if, we're focused on some of these AI capabilities and AI agents, but your distribution leaders are spending time kind of managing their performance within Excel, we've kind of missed something, right? And so I think that's what we really tried to address with this is specifically with our distribution teams, how can we bring this to life? And so that's where we started. It took some time, but we built some momentum over time with that.
Okay. And I keep hearing, like in different panels, in different sessions, we are talking less and less about the technology, and everything that we talk about is about the people, the operation system, and it's how we organize each other, how we incorporate this into our vision, how we really connect with AI in a way that the person and AI make something together. But it's always the focus that everybody's talking about is the people, is the talent. It's very, it's very particular. So now, how can we balance current data analytics need while building a new platform? So we haven't heard from you, Brand, so I'm gonna let you speak first.
Absolutely. It's an interesting question about balance, and I think I'll answer this from a resource perspective, a little bit about tactical approach. But I'll set two baseline expectations, or maybe what I'll call a reality. Reality one, there's no such thing as working on one project at a time. We all know this. And number two, there's no such thing as ceasing support for your business so you can build some new thing that will generate value. So balance is like, it's a baseline expectation. So what do we do when we have a big project like this and not enough resources? We go get a vendor, right? We go get a vendor, we get a consultant, and that will probably be kind of my cautionary tale number one. Choose your vendor carefully. I love them. We work with quite a lot of vendors at GoEasy, but choose them carefully and don't forget the phrase, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If you have somebody saying they'll deliver in 18 months and someone says they'll deliver in 9 months, I'll probably be cautious about that promise and make sure I evaluate very, very well. That would be, I would say, advice number one. But assuming we brought in a vendor that's going to help us deliver this next-gen data architecture project, or they're going to help us, like we did a few years ago, migrate our BI platform to the cloud, how can we ensure that relationship is successful to ensure that the project will be delivered on time with no cost overrun and all of these things that we tend to run into? And I would make this point key: ensure the relationship is symbiotic. The concept of bringing in a vendor and leaving them to their own devices just because the contract is big, it's, I would say, unrealistic. It's really, really important to help subject matter experts that have been on your various teams for a while now to help guide them, help support them, and be involved in the project. We talked about people. We don't want to alienate people by having people that have been on our teams for a number of years, keep supporting the business, and get people externally to handle the cool new projects. It would be, or hire someone externally to support a project, and then the people that have been on your teams for a while, they're wondering, well, what about me? Can I not work on this cool new initiative? So that would be, I think, advice number 2. Advice number 3 would be prioritize mercilessly. So when you're trying to balance something so large, such as evolving your data infrastructure or architecture, and also supporting the business, the support for the business, I think, has to be focused on really, really, really key initiatives that will deliver the most value, that will not be a distraction to your teams and what they're trying to accomplish. So those would be some of my thoughts on how to balance.
Good. What about you, Rob?
Yeah, so this was quite a challenge for us. I use the metaphor about a giant timber bamboo quite often when I talk about analytics projects. I don't know if anyone's heard this, but basically, the giant timber bamboo grows really fast, like 90 feet in about 2 months. The catch is that you have to water it for 3 years straight consistently without seeing any progress, and then suddenly it kind of shoots up. And so I think that's really what we had at Coast when we were kind of going through this process. Is in an ideal state we could kind of second a team, we could go and kind of build out the cloud platform, do deep dive requirements, and really kind of come back with the finished product. We're not big enough to be able to do that, and so we had a lot of legacy reporting, a lot of kind of like needs from the business that we had to kind of manage at the same time. And so our approach was really that we couldn't go away for a year or 2 and build this platform, but we could probably second a small team for about a quarter and 3 months, and then really try to get that beachhead or that anchor into kind of this journey that we were going on. And so that's basically what we did. We kind of carved out 1 quarter's worth of work, put a small cross-functional team on it, and we basically tried to take the biggest kind of area of focus or the biggest team that we had and tried to make a small impact in a short period of time, just to get that kind of like anchor and get that critical mass going. And so that's really what we did. So we spent 3 months really kind of like in kind of a war room style trying to get this stood up. And so one of the other ways that you could approach this would be to start with the smaller teams and maybe try to build out some capability there. For us, we tried to have a big impact first, and going back to what I said before, about bringing that vision to life. We sold the journey on that kind of like overarching vision. We wanted to be able to bring it to life, for these teams that needed it the most and were solving their problems. And so that's basically what we did. So we chipped away at it. We built this kind of framework. So we launched 2 scorecards, 5 dashboards. We replaced a bunch of that Excel reporting that we were trying to go after, and then we had automated email push reporting going into all of our senior leaders' inboxes every week. Again, a very kind of small scope, but quite a big impact. And then from there, that kind of bought us enough kind of runway, I guess, to be able to do the kind of the next few years worth of development. So that was kind of the tip of the iceberg. It kind of brought everyone up to the same level in terms of here's what it actually looks like to kind of have a leveraged cloud data platform. And then we could kind of like build from there. So we kind of bought the project runway by doing that first big push. So that was quite successful.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. Also, I would add the other side of the coin on something we need to not forget is the change management. Because like we saw it when we changed from things like Excel to the technologies what we have now with Power BI, etc. And we'll see it from the technology we have now when we go to maybe Search Query or something a little bit more advanced. Is we have people that for years has been, being the special person that owns this report, that built it, that knows that people come and ask questions. And as humans, we feel special, and we want to feel special. And then a new technology comes in which is removing your special, light, but also you don't know this technology, so then you're going to become like a regular person, and then we see resistance. So like taking the human component, I think it's something I would add to this picture, and also try to train these people so they can be, if you were the special person in Excel, maybe you can also be the special person in Power BI, and in the future you can be the special person, in whatever technology that comes if you're open. But it's an important component.
Yeah, maybe just to add as well, because I think this wasn't, for our case, specifically, it wasn't an analytics project. It was very cross-functional. So we had, an enterprise view around, it was analytics kind of led, but it was very cross-functional. So we had the business stakeholders there. We had all of the different components that, that would make it successful. And so it was very much, a collaboration. It wasn't something where the analytics team was kind of building this, rolling it out, and saying, here you go. It was, and I think a big part of the success was just because it was so cross-functional. Everyone had a stake in it.
A little bit of the co-creation element. When you have that group, if you're just trying to push an agenda, it's not going to work. So if you want to have that change management, you need to come up with some ideas. So not start from a blank page, otherwise it's going to be in a workshop for the next 3 months. But starting with the plan and then adjust it with the different plan of different people, and make sure then afterwards that you have something that makes sense also with the different priorities. And
Yeah, and it happens all across, right? Like this, we're talking specifically more about reporting, etc. But in my world, I see it as now we're incorporating AI everywhere, and the stage where we are, it's like scaling. So we're integrating with different technologies and systems in the bank, which have different squads, and that world has been owned by app engineering for years. So we have these people who have been, developing everything about those integrations and those systems, and all of a sudden my team is building some AI things that solve problems that before couldn't be solved, right? But then we have to integrate, and then we are going through that process of they not feeling threatened by this technology, but feeling part of the solution, and how we can work together and try to have a new operational model to actually move things forward. And not being like, no, you cannot do that. You cannot connect here. You can, have that resistance that have to do more with a human component rather than an actual, technology or this is the way it should be. So, taking those in consideration and being like, no, we're friends. You're part of this. It's a part that we need to take in consideration to move forward. Because if not, people's not going to let you. Yeah. So it's good. We have another question, my iPad. So what does self-serve means? And this is important. So everybody's like self-serve, but let's see how you can, guys, say what self-serve means to your organization, and how do you keep access to the data governed and secure? And this, I'm going to start with you, Chantal.
I think self-service, it's like we like it when it's sunny outside, so we can all say, yes, we want that, we want some sun. Then afterwards, it's how can we make sure that when we self-serve, that we're still at ease, being able to sleep at night, not thinking that some people are going to take some data and then push it to the board, and then it's going to wumble back to you because it's not the right information. So I think self-service, you need to be careful and takes the right step. So for us, what we're trying to establish, it's really something that is step by step. So first of all, can we have the data quality on the use cases or on the data that we have using 80% of the case that we receive? So I'm guessing that a lot of you have in your emails, hey, I'm wondering what number of clients I have per business unit for that product or per region, or the basic use case that you can automate. So once you're in control with your process, you have measured the data quality of those elements, you have then being able to deliver a first Power BI or whatever the technology you're using, then you're able to adapt it and validate all of your processes, and then you're able to add some new data and then maybe open self-service to more of a SQL or something like that, that you're able to do more of the data mining and then open it even more. So I think the goal is to do it not in a one big stop, because otherwise you're going to wait a long time to be able to do it, and to have confidence in all of your data elements and all of your lineage, even with the perfect tools that we can have here. So I think it's really to take it use case by use case, focusing first on what will be the 80%, and then taking your time with the 20%, and making sure that it's answering the right use case with the right way of self-serving. So not everyone is going to be at ease with a tool like Power BI or other Tableau or anything like that. But what is the use case, the end use case that they want to do with that data? And I don't remember which presentation this morning, but they said not just the solution, but what is the real need behind it. So not, I want to have those data. Okay, why do you need those information? And what are you going to do with that information? And then see what will be the best way of sharing this info and making sure that it's in the right format and the right way.
Yeah, and that, now that the technology gets more and more exciting, I see it more and more. And in where I work, we created sort of like a committee to explore, and everything that is AI, it's reviewed by us, and we say yes, no, this is the best way, we recommend, or we reject. And one thing that was very, like you said, like people was coming, and they just wanted to use the new technology. They came, it's like, oh, you know, like, I don't know, Perplexity, or this, or like, I want that. And sometimes we had something that is, you know, a competitor, but they just like, no, but this one's a little bit better. It's like that excitement about testing those new technologies was beyond, like, but it's like, well, but why you need it? You know, what's the solution? What's the case? What are we pursuing? What are we solving with this? And we had to go through a lot of, you know, in the company, sort of training, or it's not training, but I don't know. It's like knocking doors and it's like talking to people and let them understand that you need to start with a need, with an actual need, and then it's like, how do I solve this, right? So it's very important. You know, it's funny, but yeah, sometimes we don't start with what I'm trying to solve.
Yeah.
Start with what I want to use, and you know, it's not the best. I think in this one.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So it's an interesting question. It's a two-parter, loaded question. What does self-service mean to you, and how do you keep data secure? So I'll decompartmentalize the two. I'll focus on self-service. I think what I'll do is I'll start by telling you what self-service doesn't mean to us at GoEasy, and then I'll focus on what it does, because this term has evolved over time. What it doesn't mean to us is basically taking a business user and giving them access to an enterprise data warehouse so they can play around. No pun intended, but a business user has no business using a data warehouse, in our opinion. It's not the topic of the panel is scaling value realization. We don't think that's a scalable way to approach it, to approach self-service. And basically what would happen is your data subject matter experts will have to put headsets on, set up a 1-800 hotline, and they'd be fielding questions all day long instead of doing their work. That's kind of how we think about it, and so we shut down those requests hard. The next stage of it is, okay, what about self-service in our BI environment, focused around the concept of, we'll give you standardized data, and we'll be like, did you know you can build your own dashboard? Did you know you can build your own report? So if I was to go to my data engineering partners and say, I need a pipeline build for this file I need, and they said, you know, I can give you access to Data Factory, you can do it yourself, I'd be like, are you for real? I think this concept that we're going to turn 1,000 employees, and we have about 2,100 users active on our strategy, which is our enterprise BI platform. We're going to turn all our users into dashboard developers and BI developers. We don't consider that either a scalable self-service BI strategy. So the question then is, okay, so what is it? The way we approach self-service is, it's kind of our strategy, our BI strategy. One enterprise BI platform, not 12 visualization tools, one. It's strategy, and we've been with them for over 10 years. They fulfill pretty much every need we have. That is where we push everybody. Everybody, the experience is seamless, whether you're the CEO of a president, a business unit, a senior manager, or an FSR, you go into the same platform where you have the same experience. And then we ensure that people understand, one, where they need to go, where their dashboards are, what they mean, they're branded, they're standardized. We did a KPI standardization initiative where we made sure that things are clear, definitions are clear in business terms. Hold on. So we ensure what people understand what KPIs mean, present data to them that is relevant to them. That is our concept of self-serve. It's more around not people going in to build their dashboards, but even just knowing where to go, standard experience, what it means for them, and what kind of value it's going to generate for their team or their business unit. That is our approach. The second part of the question is, okay, how do you keep all of this secure? So I could probably do, like someone said, 1-hour presentation just on this. So I think I'll take you through the journey of an FSR when they join the company. Because frontline staff represents some of our biggest users. This is where we got the most value, again, scaling value. We brought decision support processes down to the FSR, the call center agent, everybody. Everybody has access to analytics. So the journey of an FSR is they join the company, and our single sign-on partner, Okta, picks them up and puts them in a group that flows to our enterprise BI platform that controls the ACLs or access control lists. That limits what they can see from a reporting or dashboard perspective, or if they can access an AI agent. That's part number one. Part number two, also automated, is through our data, we look to see what branches they have access data in, or what branches have they performed an action in, such as an application, they funded a loan, or they did something in the business. And we give them access to see data of those locations specifically, because it is clear that they work there. So this entire journey of access control lists and data security is automated end-to-end. No user access. Nobody has to go and fiddle in and create a security filter to ensure an FSR can see just their data. Automated end-to-end works really, really well.
All right. Okay. So that was our last panel question. Thank you for your insight. However, we have 5 minutes for questions. I know you guys are hungry, so we're going to try not to ask questions. But definitely, we have a good time, and then I think that you have questions. So, who wanna go first? There we had one, and around there also I saw somebody who was like deciding behind the thing. Also, we have another person. So we have one gentleman here, another one there.
Hi, my name is Isa. Question specifically for Rob about you guys went through migration in terms of technical stack. How guys did justify cost for enterprise? Because typically it's a technical debt, and you work through a lot of work in terms of engineering, and it doesn't bring a lot of profit. Of course, in the long term it's great, but typically we're always trying to catch up with stack. That's a kind of question I would love to hear about it. Another question, I've been hearing a lot about ethics and fairness in terms of AI. A lot of it's about privacy, and LLMs in general have a lot of weight issue to determine the actually or accuracy. So if we have something, as example, has more data or content, we fail to provide accuracy and fairness. So how are you guys looking into this as well? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll address maybe the first part. And yeah, so for us, we really front loaded on that kind of like vision piece when we're kind of like starting this journey, because yeah, to your point, I think a lot of the benefits from moving to the cloud and kind of building out this platform are a bit nebulous. It's hard to kind of bring them back to kind of stakeholder kind of deliverables, especially in the beginning. And so, like I said before, we did craft this vision. We also at Coast we have kind of like a roadmap of kind of integration and merger plans, which kind of help to sell the benefits of this. But we're very much like technology forward. So we brought in AWS, Salesforce, Tableau, Informatica. We really heavily kind of invested in. So a lot of that, goes back to our executives buying into that vision. And so, I would say as kind of analytics professionals, that information sales and trying to kind of really bring it to life to people who aren't analytics, based is quite important. And it's probably, the single biggest skill that we need to have as analytics practitioners is how do you kind of sell a very technical program to non-technical people. And so I think that's something that we did well at Coast. Again, it kind of it took years. It was a lot of money, a lot of investment and resources, but we're all of that kind of bamboo has now sprouted. So we're seeing the benefits of that. And so again, you have to bring the whole enterprise on board, and it needs that constant kind of reinforcement, I would say.
Maybe if I can add to the question, because we just finished our whole integration of the master data management system, because we have a lot of, we're a bit like you, Rob, we like merger and acquisition, and with that comes a lot of different systems, so how can we leverage that 360 view of our client that we like to have? And I think the goal is really, to your point, speaking the business terms. So yes, client experience, we all want to have a better client experience when you log into the app, client experience for people when they call into the call center, to have that full 360 view without having to go into 6 different systems. But there's also all of the facts of how can you leverage that for growth of the organization and profits. So how can you say, hey, you see with those opportunities, I'm able to cross-sell that number of product, or the number of product per client that we have, it's that number, we can leverage it to that with all of that information. And I think this is how you're able to, yes, touch on the client experience, advisor experience, or call center agent experience, but also going back to the how can you leverage the P&L of your company with all of that information. So it has to become a strategic asset. And I think once you're able to position it as that, it's way easier to get the funding and to keep it afterwards.
Yeah, I agree. It's important that sometimes you also have to see what is the cost of not having it. But I really like the bamboo part, because part of what sometimes the executives struggle with is understanding that it's not a tomorrow thing. It's long term. We have 42 seconds. I know you had a question. Do you still want to do that question, but the answer is going to be very fast, or then you can get them after? All right. Okay, so thank you very much. And if you have more questions, you can reach out to them after. I'm hoping you guys are staying around, right?
Yep.
Are you coming to Montreal today or tomorrow? You're staying tomorrow? Okay, so we're gonna have them around. So round of applause.
Thank you.